So this is the old Honda 750. It's a 1974 Honda CB750K. Here's a sort of a hodgepodge of motorcycles, 750K motorcycles over the years. I've had it for about 20 years now. It's been down to Sturgis. When I was on the West Coast 4 years, I rode it every day. It was my main source of transportation back then. So a couple things about it. It's got dual discs on the front end. They're spaced out. And 2 Honda calipers. I believe they're around 73/4 calipers, and the discs have been drilled out and spaced. I've got a Triumph master cylinder on here. That's off of a I don't know, it's off of a newer Triumph sort of affair with dual discs. It was a crashed bike, so I salvaged that off it. Got the obligatory ADV rider sticker on there, advrider.com. Great website. I got the K&Ns on there. I've just jetted it, tuned it, done the cam chain tensioner, valves, new spark plugs, points, set them all up. I've got an oil filter gauge on here. It's a you can see it. It goes from 0 to about 100, and really interesting about this bike is one of the reasons he lasted is because it's got excellent oil pressure. If you have a look here, so it's at 0, of course, because it's not running. And if you I don't know if I can do this and show you, but if you kick it, it immediately goes up to about 60 psi. Now the oil's cold, of course, but it'll sit around 40 at idle, and when you're running it, it'll run about 60 psi on a hot day going down the highway. And it starts up wonderful. When it's hot, you don't even have to touch the throttle. There we go. She's a little cold still, but I haven't ran it that long and the fuel's off. But anyways, one of the secrets of these motors is it has fabulous oil pressure, and that little gauge just flies right up the moment you kick it. It's got drum brakes on the rear. This thing's got about 250,000 kilometers on it, more or less. I mean, I've changed a lot of things on it, but I rode it every day and wore a lot of things out. Wore the drum brake right out. Anyways, I changed the motor. I wore the transmission out on the original motor. It was, the dogs were slipping and all rounded, and shift forks bent and this sort of thing. I just welded that the other day. The fender, it was sort of falling off. The side cover I have to repair, because these are getting sort of collectible now. So the side covers are prohibitively expensive. They're about $80 shipped to the door, which is, as far as I'm concerned, quite a bit for a piece of plastic. It's got the original ignition mounted underneath the tank, and a little tail of the dragon thing from when my buddy Jordan done the tail last year. Said it was all right. So anyways, got a bunch of wires hanging out here. There's a newer regulator rectifier unit in there to replace the old mechanical jobby. It's got a what do you call, electromagnetic alternator on there. So it needs a little juice to create the magnetism, to create the current, and fire the stator to get the juice, and then to the battery. It's got the I set the float height at set at 26 millimeters, give or take a millimeter. The book states 26, but I think I'm running 25-ish around there, and the 22 mains on the bottom, and the needles are a second clip from the top, and it runs absolutely excellent. Idle's excellent. The pilot screws are about the pilot screws are these ones here. Those are for your idle, and they're a half turn out each. And so one clip up from the bottom on the needles, 22 main, 20 122 mains, 25mm float height, and half a turn out on those. And I've synchronized the carburetors and adjusted the valves to spec. I've ran a compression test. It's a little low. It's about 110 psi. That's quite low actually, but they all run quite good. They sort of wear like a dull axe, these old Hondas. I've got a 630 drive chain on here, which was a conversion back in the day. Some models had, I think the early Honda 750s had a 630 drive chain on. It looks kind of cool. It's just beefy, that's all. So I've got the chain guard off, and the original oiler's not on there, so it must be a later motor, because I think till 75 they had the automatic, not automatic, but it was an adjustable oiler on there. So K&N filters, they're not the greatest filters, but the airbox is long gone, so that's the best I can do. And that's about it. I mean, it's got this and that, different years and whatnot, but still a cool old bike. And a single throttle cable. The other one broke long ago, of course, so I just run a single, which is not really recommended. You should have dual, because there's just a spring returning it, but I mean, it's a bit of a lottery, isn't it? But anyways, that's just me. I don't recommend it, but that's what I do. And yeah, it's got the on and off switch for the headlight, and some kind of Jardine, I think it's a Jardine 4-in-1 on it, and a lot of chrome bits here and there, and 70s sort of stuff like this. These finned clutch covers were sort of big in the day. These carburetors have been painted, and what else? I got the seat recovered, and the tank's original. There's no liner in it, so it's quite a good tank. And it's an old tank too. It's really thick. Not a wrinkle tank, which was first year 69, but it's certainly early 71, 2, 3, something like that. And that's about it. That's my old Honda, and she runs good. I should start it up really quick and show you. And once it's warm, you don't even have to touch the throttle. It'll just start right up. There we go. That's it. That's the old Honda. And the battery's totally dead in it. I've got a little bit of a short going on with the oil light there. You can see the oil light's still on, but that's just a short going on. It has nothing to do with the pressure. Hence the gauge. The gauges are, that's why a gauge is so lovely to have on the motor. It's just pretty solid indication of pressure, and that's about it. And it's sort of interesting watching that gauge. If you're going up a mountain on a hot day, that pressure starts dropping. The hotter the motor gets, the lower the pressure gets, so it's pretty important to run good oil. But anyways, that's my old Honda, and that's it.